Rugby. So we've just had. I watched the Japan South Africa game this today on the telly. South Africa won the game quite convincingly, 41-7. I think that was the score. I will confirm it while I'm going through it. I did watch the game. I just missed the last couple of minutes. Sorry about that. I missed the last couple of minutes. A bit of a rundown of the game. It was really great to see that most of our tries were scored from wings on the wing. Makazole Mpimpi getting a hat trick. Some of them were quite soft tries, but that's what your wing's there to do. They're there to be at the right place at the right time and get through. The only try that was conceded was there was a pass. Franstein, I thought that pass was thrown a bit too hard into Lekanyu arm and quite high, and it bounced awkward. And yeah, it was a well-deserved try. But what impressed me the most was probably the first 10 minutes after the second half, where Japan were really coming in hard in the 22, and South Africa had some awesome defense to keep Japan out, because South Africa a few years ago would have quite easily let through a try at that point. One thing I can say is the Japanese side is super physical. I enjoyed the way that they played. I think they're going to do very, very well against Scotland. I think they're going to do quite well in their pool. But yeah, a few areas of concern for South Africa's point of view. I didn't think our scrum was as dominant as it should be. I didn't feel there was just something not 100% right. And this is Stephen Kitsoff, Frans Malherbe, and Malcolm Marx. They should be a hell of a lot more dominant at scrum time. So yeah, that was the one big area of concern that I had, because it should have been a little bit different to that. But besides that, it was quite a different kind of defensive structure that South Africa were playing. They're playing a little bit deeper. They weren't rushing up as much. Yes, there was a few times where you could see. It's quite amazing how it's like a rush up defense and then they go to the side. So it's quite an interesting kind of defensive structure. But yeah, Makazole Mpimpi and Cheslin Kolbe scoring 5 tries. That's marvelous. And then there we go. Herschel Yankees, every single game he's played, he scored a try. The guy's, he's just really such a great player. What a great find for somebody who couldn't even make the starting team at the beginning of the year to actually be at a World Cup. The guy, that's just incredible. Other players that stood out for me, trying to think of a player that physically stood out for me. I thought Andre Pollard had a decent game. Kicking was pretty good. Billy Leroux, I don't know. There's just something about Billy Leroux. It's not hit or miss, but it just seemed a little bit. Some of the things that he was trying just seemed very, very strange. But overall, you could see it was a team that was getting used to the heat. That's one thing I have to say. That heat in Japan is astronomical. Those guys were suffering. I lived in Durban most of my life, and I know what February is like. February in Durban it's like a nightmare. It's like walking through soup. And they were saying that was worse than Durban. So I can just imagine what those guys were going through. And a lot of the teams are going to suffer if they haven't done any acclimatization in some a country with quite a lot of humidity. I think they're going to suffer a hell of a lot. I know England and all of them were practicing in humid countries. One thing I can say, I was very impressed with the Japanese. I think everything, it just wasn't their day. That's just the way it is. It just really wasn't their day. Little bounces that could have gone a little bit different. The intercept was really, I think it was against the run of play, but it still was an intercept. The yellow card for Francois Lowe, I'm sorry, you can't have a warning 20 minutes at the start of the first half, and then 20 minutes later you give the yellow card for repeated infringements. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, repeated infringement is almost like 5, maximum 10 minutes, not 20 minutes. I just thought that was a little bit strange. And Francois Lowe really didn't take part of the game. Forwards played well. I thought Franco Mostert had a great game. He was all over the place. Some of the tackles that those guys were doing were just seriously hard. I think Russie's got a few tweaks to do. I think Proudfoot's going to have to do something. The scrum just wasn't as dominant as it should be. I'm hoping Trevor Nyukani is not injured. For me, he is our informed centre. Centre. Chief Imagine Trevor Nyukani as a centre. That'd be just so funny. Is our informed tight head, and I really hope he's not injured. But saying that, I don't want to say it, but I haven't been impressed with Frans van Herbe. The scrums just weren't going that well. We had one or two really dominant scrums, but besides that, it should have been a hell of a lot better. I was looking at our lineouts. We could have done a lot better. What I'm thinking is, yeah, we won the game convincingly. I'm super happy we won. I wasn't stressed through any part of the game, but there are quite a few areas that we could work on. And that's nice. It's nice that we can actually look at some areas and we can improve on it. Some of the defensive lineouts maybe should have been a little bit better reading the opposition's throw-in. But yeah, overall, it was so nice. The Japanese crowd are just absolutely amazing. Even though their team was so far down, they didn't boo or they didn't say a word when the place kickings was happening. And that's a sign of a country that shows a lot of respect. And a few countries are like that. Ireland, Japan, where they're completely quiet when the kicks happen. It doesn't happen in South Africa and New Zealand and all that. We just don't keep quiet at all. But it was nice to see. It was nice to see a full stadium. But geez, I'm super excited for the Rugby World Cup. I just bloody well can't wait. I really, really can't wait. It's so close. I don't know how I'm going to fit my work in. I really, really don't. But I'm trying to do a lot of work now so I can actually have some time during the World Cup. But yeah, overall, I was impressed with the Springboks' performance, with the amount of humidity and that slippery ball. I thought they played really, really well. There are areas that they can improve on. Yeah, and I think for the Japanese, I don't think they're going to face. They might. Ireland's a pretty tough side, and Scotland's a pretty tough side. But they're pretty on parity with the Springboks, and I'm sure that they're going to do hell of a well in their pool. And I say watch out, the Japanese side, and when they get the crowd behind them, because you could see when they were close to the line, that crowd was really getting into it. So yeah, overall, super happy we won the game. Got a 50% win record against Japan, finally. And but yeah, great way to start the weekend's rugby. I think Georgia's playing tonight, which is going to be wonderful. But yeah, guys, what did you think of the game? Did you think it was enjoyable? What players stood out for you? Where little areas of concern? I thought there was a lot of positives to take out of that game. But yeah, I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Chat soon. Cheers. Bye.